So, you ever watch that show from the '90s? It was a anime called Slayers.
Layers? I don't think I've heard of it.
Well, it's a fantasy type anime. You got wizards casting gigantic fireballs. All the stuff of that nature. Warriors, you name it. It's a D&D type situation. But there's one thing from the show that really got me that I absolutely loved, and I feel like it can be a lot of fun. You see, the
Oh yeah.
female casters in this show, their greatest enemy is that time of the month. You know that special time when
I don't
the magic goes out and Mother Nature calls.
I don't think we're supposed to talk about that.
that probably, but you know what? We're gonna talk about it anyways, because it'd really suck to just be, oh yeah, that wizard of the party. She's a real badass. Sorry guys, I'm a little crampy today. I can't cast fireball.
Fireball's a little woozy.
That's what I'm talking about. I love it. Let's start the show. All right, so welcome to Dungeons and Talk Shows. I am your host, Orion, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Sam. How you doing today?
Doing good. Welcome, welcome. Glad to have us back for episode 2.
We made it this far. A lot of people quit after episode 1.
You know what? The trial to get here is feeling pretty good so far.
Yeah, I figure podcasts are a lot like restaurants in that way. 80% of them fail within the first 5 years.
Yeah, true, true. But I mean, they can't last, then they're not worth keeping in the first place.
Wow. I mean, that could be very grim for us. Who knows? But at any rate, what do you got with us today for the monster of the week?
Today I present the Ooze Cruise.
The Ooze Cruise. Okay, this is
Ooze
exciting.
Cruise. We talking about um the infamous black puddings. You
Tasty.
know, the everyone's most hated grandmother's recipe. Nobody wants this at their barbecues.
I have
And then
yet
we,
to see anyone that still brings it.
and then we have the gelatinous cube. The uh-oh, I'm stuck. I'm dissolved.
The last session that I prepped as a DM, I was getting ready to throw a gelatinous cube out at you guys before everything went on hiatus.
Oh Jesus! Look,
But
knowing our group, we all would have died
well, you see, there was a stair trap. One person steps on the wrong step, it turns into a slide into a pit.
into a giant gelatinous cube.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus!
Am I an evil
That's
DM?
diabolical.
Oh. You see, there's different stages of becoming a DM. Stage one, you got your ginger gloves on, and you don't want to punish your players too much. You're being a little nice
Exactly,
and
exactly.
naive. Then after a while, you get a little resentful. Because like, oh no, all my encounters are getting steamrolled.
Right.
Then you're gonna start to, you might overcorrect a little bit. Maybe a player dies, and then the party starts to adapt,
Mm-hmm.
and it becomes a little bit of a game of cat and mouse,
Yeah.
almost predatory in a way. And I feel like once a DM has reached that balance of predator and friend, that's where you want your DM to be. You want them to
Mm-hmm.
be your best friend, always looking out for you, but at the same time also trying to prey upon your weaknesses and get you. Like, got him.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not enough to just make the trap. You have to have the cunning that goes into the the escape, into the planning of how the machinations of how this trap goes about. You can't just make a trap and you're like, oh, good luck surviving. You know,
Yeah,
how is your party going to work through it? What's their rewards for making it through?
yeah. And I can definitely see where the DM versus player mentality could become very problematic. I mean, obviously, it's become the source of many an RPG horror story over the years.
Right? I feel like the essence of a trap is to create a tense situation, not to, you know, kill your party necessarily. You just kind of want to present a danger. You know?
It could be. Have you ever heard of the Tomb of Horrors?
Oh, the Tomb of Horrors. I'm sorry.
The Tomb of Horrors.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
oh,
Okay, my fault. I apologize.
God. The Tomb of Horrors sounds fantastic. You get trust and believe. You will lose your party bard to that tomb every time.
This sounds like a Circle of Hell trap system.
The Tomb of Horrors. Now that's a trap.
Enjoy your eternal damnation.
Walk into the Tomb of Horrors. It's all traps.
Can never leave.
Of course, there's going to be that one player that never wants to leave.
Mhm.
But
Well,
I
if you've seen
digress.
Vox Machina, the Scanlan is a perfect example.
Mm. Scanlan was so much fun. I loved
Oh
when they did the
my
animated series. The open your back door, baby.
god.
Loosen your
I'm sorry, sorry.
hinges. I'll show you my key.
We don't
Great
mean to
stuff.
derail this conversation.
Well, like a proper campaign, the conversation's been derailed. So let's bring it back in. Tell us
Right,
about
right.
gelatinous cubes and black puddings.
Oh yeah, yeah. This. Where do I even start?
I mean, where can
They're
you
two of the
start?
most infamous D&D monsters. I mean, who hasn't heard of and or feared the gelatinous cube? This block of hungry jello can surprise a party, trapping a player or creature inside themselves, and then they use their engulf ability to digest it. You know,
That sounds to
um,
me like there's just this DM back in the day. It was probably Gygax
I
that,
would believe it.
yeah, dude, was just fed up. Like, fuck these people. You know what? They can't pass a perception check if they can't see it.
Right.
But that's how it goes sometimes.
Right. So I believe the Forgotten Realm entry states that the gelatinous cube is typically, sorry, English, typically measured between 10 to 15 feet on the side and weighed as much as 50,000 pounds, which sounds fucking ridiculous.
50,000 pounds. That's dense as fuck.
Right. And like the more you think about it, like it would have to be, right? Like
Hmm. Like,
it could change its viscosity
wait,
so it can make itself kind of as
it
heavy as it
can?
wants.
It can
I,
change its viscosity? Like, I knew they could get up to 10 by 10 as a cube. I
Mhm.
didn't know they could grow up to 15 by 15.
Yeah, I mean, like, it depends on how much they eat, If they live in an area where they're thriving, they could get to be very large.
That checks out. That makes a lot of sense.
And that's just like, imagine walking to an entire chamber where it's just one massive gelatinous cube. Like, what?
On the surface, it sounds like every 12-year-old's dream. Just like you jump into a pool full of jello, and then you realize this is a lot more dangerous than you thought it was.
Like, oh, this Jello kind of feels like fire.
Kind of feels like acid, like I'm being dissolved. Uh, do these destroy weapons? I understand that a lot of those things typically do. Uh,
I believe everything up to simple materials. I don't believe it can digest things like steel or
okay.
high quality metals. I think that's why typically the way people kind of notice them is they'll see these floating items. You know,
I've seen pictures like that. It is kind of cool. Like I like the whole
right,
situation with that. You're
right,
walking
right.
around. It's like, hey, look at that floating thing. I'm gonna go grab it. And by the
Right, and they'll
time you,
use that as a lure, kind of bring you in.
it definitely would bring a lot of people in.
Right. 'Cause I feel like to like the average person, you're like, oh, floating sword must be magical.
When it comes to a gelatinous cube, why wouldn't it be able to move the stuff around inside it? Like, oh,
Exactly.
guys, it's a dancing sword. I always
And the
wanted one
thing
of
is, like,
those.
they're smart enough to know what will attract people, so it'll collect all these items and it'll bring up different ones, you know. And
Huh.
I think usually around them, like around the space of a Japanese cube, we can just find piles of gear or things that are half dissolved or just kind of spit out to the side.
I'm sorry. The first thing that came to my head just now, because my brain is just it's something else. Just imagine like you have to pass through a gelatinous cube to enter
Uh,
a nudist colony.
that's all your clothes get dissolved.
No exceptions.
Oh
Done.
my god. You're just freshly shaved, waxed like the day you were born.
Yeah, gelatinous cubes would be amazing for that. That
Oh my god. Hey, make them agree not to kill anybody. They can eat as many clothes as they want.
shit. You could have an entire nudist hippie cult that just feeds it. And why wouldn't it acquiesce to such a thing if they had
Kind of
people?
like the fish that eat the dead skin off your feet.
It could eat the dead skin off your feet.
There you go.
You have
Perfect.
spas with gelatinous cubes in the big cities of Faerun. That what more could you want?
Honestly. They're, I'm sure they'll probably have, hygiene products made from gelatinous cubes.
That's
I'm sure
beautiful.
there's plenty of things you can make from them. I don't know if they're edible. I probably wouldn't try that, but
What would it taste like?
maybe like spicy, spicy Jello.
Spicy Jello. I'm sold.
You're sold.
I'm a
Put some
spicy guy.
sriracha and some Jello.
Sriracha Ello. Yeah, that's the stuff right there. Spread that on your toast in the morning.
That sounds disgusting.
Well, I have an entire shelf in my fridge stacked with spicy stuff.
Oh man. But yeah, but speaking of larger cubes, there were apparently legends that talked about these extremely large cubes that were seen to kind of consist of entire dungeons.
Ooh, would you have to like swim through those?
Who knows? How would you even kill that? Like
You don't. That this is one of those Riddler questions.
giant gelatinous cube versus God.
Gelatinous cubes just they fill God's Jello bowl. They're at a constant stalemate. They can't beat each other, so they eat each other.
Like SpongeBob versus Goku.
I've seen some. I've seen some videos about that one. It's a why they really shouldn't be using that string feat. Just because some dipshit finds a string to the universe and starts pulling doesn't mean that they're automatically strong enough to tear a universe apart. It just means that
Right.
it's no different than pulling at a thread on a shirt. Eventually, you keep pulling, you're going to tear apart a shirt, and it's going to get
Mm,
structurally weaker as you pull.
right.
The fuck you mean you're going to power scale SpongeBob because he pulled a thread once?
Did you
Definitely.
know
Yeah,
that
yeah. Fucking
a
death battle.
gelatinous cube appears in the Pixar movie Onward?
You know what? I was watching that with the kids. I did see that.
I haven't seen the movie, but apparently I looked it up and apparently it's true.
I highly recommend Onward as a movie because better than Bright. Better than Bright.
Yeah.
Not a high bar, but it had that right amount of fantasy, a modern setting. You got these that like, oh hey, let's go on a quest. Ah, great. Let's go on a quest. I love it. And it came full circle, kind of like how this podcast comes full circle. We
It all
came.
comes full circle.
Oh, absolutely. Last episode, we were talking about the hygiene perks of a paladin giving a shiatsu massage. Now
There you
we're
go.
getting the dead skin removed from our feet and elbows with the gelatinous cube. Baby soft, baby. Right
Yeah,
there.
there's a theme to our madness, you know.
I think ultimately it's just a subconscious cry for help in the sense that we want to be pampered.
You calling me out, man?
Yes. I've
Are
seen
you
the way
gonna
you
pamper
apply
me?
lotion.
Oh, yeah, I have no rebuttal for this.
Can't come back from that one. Vicious mockery.
Jesus.
Mm.
Uh, all right. Yeah, we can let's move on to black puddings. Um,
Let's hear it.
Now they're a little more, the usual suspect of what you would expect an ooze to be. You know,
Right?
they're
They're drippy.
yeah,
They're blobby.
thick masses of just bubbling goop. You know, so the average black pudding is measured to be around 15 feet across and about 2 feet thick.
2 feet
Apparently
thick.
they, yeah, 2 feet thick. Apparently they weigh about 18,000 pounds, which, in the case of thinking of the gelatinous cube, they can kind of control their density and their weight. So I guess that makes sense.
I just can't
Um,
get over the weight here.
yeah, I
Thousand
guess it makes sense because
pounds?
imagine if one of these things falls on you and it gets heavier over time. Like,
Just off of sheer weight, that should kill most people outright.
I would
Assuming.
imagine that it would kind of start at like a lower weight as like it's a base, and then it's
mm,
like
Maybe it.
as they get bigger, they probably gain mass like crazy.
Well, how would surface tension play into that? I would imagine like you're
How
in
do
a
they interact with
dungeon,
water?
you got low hanging ceilings, so you're not
Hmm.
gonna get too much momentum and surface tension backlash.
Yeah, true. They would be
But
kind of like drooping off the ceiling. Like,
yeah, so they just kind of come on to you, like, hey
yeah, you
baby,
have to
they
be
give
like
you the
standing
wraparound.
underneath it, and then like once it touches you, it kind of like
Yeah,
mold, like molasses.
that sounds disgusting
Yeah,
and delicious at the same time. And I can't help but think back to the live action 101 Dalmatians, where Cruella Deville, who just comes out of a vat of molasses.
of that molasses.
A vat of molasses is basically you're looking at the same thing as a black pudding right there. The
Yeah, I mean,
viscosity.
pretty much.
Yeah, the only difference is that it wasn't trying to kill her.
Yeah, true.
So how
It
do you
wasn't
fight
like
these
a.
things?
Um, I believe. Let me see. Let me check my notes.
A classic note checker.
So, some black puddings that manage to survive for a very long time can be known as elder black puddings.
An
They were
elder.
significantly bigger than their younger counterparts and had almost impenetrable outer layer of aged material. These
Hmm.
ancient black puddings were immune to all damage, unless the outer layers were first dissolved by a very specific concoction.
Huh. You're telling me an elder black pudding could be more terrifying than an elder dragon.
I would imagine. I would picture these things like if a dragon were to come up on it, they're kind of like, eh, I'm not even gonna fuck with it. Like
Yeah, they know better.
they're like, this is an ordeal. Like I'd rather not even bother.
I'd imagine a black pudding of that size would just wrap around it and then just kind of like work its way down its throat.
Yeah, just get smothered. And like other oozes, black puddings desire warmth, and they sense their prey through movement. While the creatures seek living and breathing targets, they'll feast upon animal guts, slimes, and mushrooms. Being only a CR4 creature, the black pudding is a terrifying encounter for the PCs. Like,
It sounds it. I've never personally encountered one.
Me either. And God, we haven't had a DM like that has. This is something that I probably wouldn't even want to yet for a good while.
Mm, I don't.
They have a
Yeah.
corrosive ability where a creature that touches the pudding or hits it with a melee attack um, takes acid damage. Any non-magical weapon made of metal or wood, it corrodes. You know, the potential to destroy and dissolve equipment has got to be on par with things like rust mods.
I
For
would
a
say
party of
so.
melee fighters, this is a get the hell out of there situation. Like,
It's a hard counter, and I don't think it's unreasonable for a big bad. Like if you're a DM that's had enough of your party's bullshit to, you know what? Big bad's got a black pudding on his payroll, and it's in a barrel. He just dropped it in front of you. Fuck you.
and I feel like these are, you know, things that maybe like a high level wizard or warlock or whatever could probably create things like these.
There's a lot of casters, and some would even call it a caster problem. So I feel like a black pudding wouldn't be the worst thing you could throw at a party, but it
Yeah,
would,
if you have a party full of casters, maybe.
yeah, they'd have a chance. But I think it's also a way to really put some of your players in their place.
Yeah, throwing one of these things in a tight space, good luck.
Honestly, sometimes the party needs a vibe check. Just saying. Although it sounds weird coming from me. You played in my games. I'm way too
Yeah.
nice as a DM. And
If
here I
you've got
am.
a murder hobo party and he's put in line, you know what to do now. I've given you the tools.
We've given you express permission, DMs
Yeah.
out there. If you got a party that needs a vibe check, a black pudding or a gelatinous cube's a great way to make it happen.
And they're classic. They can be fun, if you don't, they don't have to be a party KO. They can just kind of be, put them in their place.
Yeah,
They'll get the point eventually. Maybe they'll lose their, you know,
yeah.
loving sword, but it's all up for the gameplay, all for the character development.
Character development, like, oh no, I
Character development.
I lost the family shield to that motherfucker. Guys, we're coming back and we're killing it. Fun stuff.
Vengeance breeds lore. You know.
I think adversity is what really builds a party. I've
Yeah,
had
having a
yeah,
shared enemy would build people together more than that.
exactly. And honestly, when it comes to being a player, you need a healthy understanding that not every encounter you can just beat. Not everything is made for your party. And sometimes if you throw in big boys that are really troublesome to deal with at a party, that could be the perfect thing right there.
Wise words, wise words. Always remember, use your brain too in these encounters. Not
Oh,
everything can be solved with a fight.
I feel like I've run parties that were smart enough to be able to do some creative shenanigans
Yeah,
to
you guys
get
have
through it.
already kind of shown some great examples of that in our games.
Oh, like the Charlie's Angels infiltrate and seduce the cult master.
That poor guy.
I felt bad about it, and then Nefra just smacks me across the face. Girl, get a hold of yourself.
Imagine you got three beautiful women coming into your office.
We're
You know,
traveling
you're you're
concubines.
you're off duty. You're chilling. Finally, your guards are stationed. Your door is locked. You're chilling, man. Maybe your boss sent this as a gift. Why not have a little fun? And then suddenly you get blinded and you're getting stabbed. Like,
We claim to be a menagerie because the boss didn't know his tastes. Well, when you got
he was
so,
not having a good day.
it was fantastic for
I
the
mean, granted, he
fuckery.
was a murdering zealot, but whatever.
Well, yeah, you have to justify your stuff a little bit, or maybe you don't. I'm not judging.
I'm not judging your murders. You do you.
I will say one thing though. although we've kind of laid it on a little thick with the hey, vibe check your party, the thing is, you have to vibe check responsibly.
Exactly.
It's like drinking and driving. Not everyone can do it, and no one can do it responsibly.
He's based. He's based. Everybody. He's based.
I mean, I would say my father would be an exception to that, but we're not going to go there. There's exceptions to every rule. What else do we got here on this black pudding deal?
Oh,
What do they
I
taste like?
believe. What do they taste like?
Yeah, what do they taste
Oh
like?
man, I don't know. I don't
If,
know.
if it's
Maybe
black
like a
licorice, I'm
yeah,
all
maybe like
on
a
that.
black licorice, like a banana pudding black licorice
Yeah,
flavor.
like if the yellow pudding tastes like banana and the black pudding tastes like licorice, I'm the apex predator.
Gonna hunt him down with a spoon.
They'll dissolve my spoon. I need a straw. You get a magic straw.
Rest in peace to that throat, man.
Oh damn,
I do
that'd be
believe that they are used to make pretty good potions or things like that. I didn't put these in my notes for some reason, but I can give it a look.
that does sound very interesting. Making potions out of the stuff. Oh, what do you think of this? What if your party
Hmm.
managed to catch one in a bag of holding?
Ooh,
Then your bag of holding is a
interesting.
garbage disposal. Or in the case
All
of a
right,
murder hobo party, corpse disposal bag.
corpse disposal. What happens to the corpses?
Well, it's a black pudding.
Oh, it eats the corpses.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, you gotta feed your pets. It's like a goldfish.
like a goldfish.
Or maybe like a beta fish? No, more like a goldfish. Don't they grow to like whatever the size of their container is?
Hmm.
Yeah, that seems accurate.
Not seeing anything
Hmm.
on the old .gov.
Well,
Why are you,
hey,
why
why
are
don't
you
we
calling
just
it .gov?
we could take a moment to have a word from our sponsor.
We have a sponsor?
Uh, yeah, haven't you ever heard of Mimic Tape?
Raid Shadow Legends?
Raid, is it you? Our patron is finally upon us.
Finally, the time has come.
Oh, for the love of God! Like the time when Raid hits us up, and they're all like, "Hey,
We've made
start
it.
start shilling our game," and we're just like, "No, we don't like your shitty game. You're a meme, not a
Don't
game."
penetrate their own legit. I mean, no, we're not sellouts. I mean, definitely don't sponsor us, Raid Shadow Legends.
Definitely don't sponsor us. You know what? I feel like we could shit on them every episode except for the ones that they decide to sponsor. Do they even listen to the stuff they sponsor?
I, I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe the episodes that they pay for, but why would they have any reason to listen to anything else? I'll shit talk them all day, but once they're signing a paycheck, y'all in the
Oh,
audience know how I actually feel. But you all also know how my wallet feels.
did end up finding what you can end up getting from the black pudding if you were to kill one.
Alright.
Um, yeah, apparently the sludge produced by its body is acidic in nature. Naturally, it can dissolve flesh, wood, metal, and bone, which is different from the gelatinous cube where they're not able to dissolve that metal.
The dinosaurs never stood a chance.
Never. And apparently these samples of the sludge is often bought by alchemists and merchants. It can be used to make acidic concoctions.
So if you were to catch a black pudding, it would it's a cash cow right there.
You
Once
you
again,
milk it.
it's like the mimic thing. We got a theme going. How can this monster make me money? Whatever you're talking about is
Milk a black
cool,
pudding.
but yeah, it's always like that. Whatever you're talking about is cool, but how does that make me money? And that's a quote from my dad.
Absolutely. Your dad was on the right track.
Well, he's been playing since second edition, so we'll see. Well, I'll have him onto the show sometime.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So what's next? Do you have your topic for today?
Well, actually, I wanted to touch a little bit on some recent news in the community.
Ah, yes, yes, yes.
So, you're aware that Wizards of the Coast has been facing financial issues, not making enough money, some revenue. They've got to find a way to make more money. Yeah?
Right, I've heard.
Well, it turns out Hasbro has been hemorrhaging money as far as Wizards is concerned.
Oh no.
Yeah, they've actually been talking about selling it because there's only so much that they can do with it. And honestly, I get it because most of the people that are buying books and minis and maps and stuff of that nature, that's the DM. How many
Yeah.
how many players to what's the player to DM ratio? You know?
Hmm. That's a good question.
I can't imagine it'd be very good.
No,
Maybe
I feel the same. Yeah, I can't imagine either.
I mean, you only became a DM relatively recently and you're doing a stellar job. But
Oh, thank you, man.
there's only so many people that are going in on it. I became a DM, I want to say 5 years ago. I'm not sure. I'll
Hmm.
have to actually think about it. But the point is, in our group, we have how many? Like, I would be generous and say 4 to 5 DMs, but we have kind of a wide net cast, and some of the DMs more reliable than others,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
as you know. And the DM to player ratio, like the burden of getting stuff for the table is almost always on the DM.
Uh-huh.
Like the DM needs the books, DM's needing a module. Players ain't going out and buying a module. They ain't going
Right.
out and getting the minis usually, unless they're super invested in a character. That just tends to be the nature of things when it comes to that. So how can Wizards really make that much money outside of putting out a few books a year? There's
Mm-hmm.
only so much they can do without extending their net. So the obvious solution is okay, we got to get the players to pay a little bit into this because we need paying players.
Mm-hmm.
I get it because, video games work that way. You need everyone who's playing paying. And what's the situation when the people that are running the game, like, come on, the console, if you had a console that's running everything and the console's the only one buying the games, and the players all are just a bunch of randos that come in and play it regardless.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how sustainable it can be as a business model. Like, obviously, it's worked for a long time,
Right.
but given the rise in popularity, they've reached a point where they have to sustain that, and they've had a lot of issues with things recently. With one D&D having a flip floppy situation, they get criticized by lots of people from Kotaku, for example. That remember the Hado Z debacle?
No, I have no idea what that is.
Well, you see, a bunch of people decided that, hey, all these monkey people in this fantasy game where you can be anything you want are stand in for blacks.
Oh, right. Yes, I remember.
Yeah, we had a conversation about that. Personally, I think that if you look at a race of flying monkey people and you think, yes, black.
Yeah,
That
it kind of sounds like that's a you problem. Like,
that's not where I'm thinking. That's not where my mind goes. I'm like, flying
right.
monkey people, Wizard of the Oz, what have you brought to me today?
Look, man, honestly, just look inward, people.
Yeah, it's like when I was in college, I used to play D&D with this group, and there's this one guy. He was very, very liberal, and I had a lot of respect for him up until the point he started coming around. calling me a bigot just because I didn't think that orcs were a stand-in for black people,
Interesting.
or that goblins were a stand-in for Jews.
Right.
And I'm just like, the fuck you talking about? Who raised you? Who hurt you?
Who made you like this?
Like, is there something you want to talk about?
Oh
I'm an
my
armchair
god.
psychologist. You know, I'll sit here on my armchair and I'll pretend I know what I'm talking about, but I am listening.
Right, right.
I don't know, but as far as I know, with the whole debacle, you get a lot of these people in game journalists saying, "Hey, wizards, you got to change things up. You got to get rid of race for species. These flying monkey people, obviously, they're a marginalized representation." And just like, they're wizards they're genuinely trying. They're swapping species, race. They're rewriting the history of the Hado Z, and they're trying to be as inclusive as they can. But
Hmm.
the thing is, I saw a thing recently where Kotaku's putting out like, "Hey, everyone, move to Pathfinder," because clearly they're so greedy over at Wizards they can't get their shit together. Y'all were the same ones telling them to change everything.
Hmm. So my
So
question is, what are they gonna like? How are they gonna be trying to monetize this? What are they gonna be doing?
they brought in a team of specialists from a video game company. I forget
Hmm.
which, and they're trying to turn it into a reoccurring microtransaction scheme, kind of like with your standard apps that you get on your phone.
Okay.
I personally have mixed feelings, but I get it. I don't know how you're going to make all these microtransactions, but I do think small scale transactions are probably the way that you're going to make things happen. Like, you got to get the players spending money somehow.
Hmm.
I just don't know how you're going to do that with a game like D&D. I mean, come on. If one person has a piece of paper with a bunch of rules on it, they got a resource that they can share with everybody all the time. Hell, uh, the cool thing about 5th edition, the reason I love it so much, is it's the easiest edition I've ever homebrewed for.
You think so?
Yeah, I genuinely think that 5th edition is an easy edition to homebrew for. Uh, Maybe a close one to it would be 4th edition, because a lot of things were just reflavored and redone, reskinned, if you wanted something. But you had like the main class archetypes. 3.5, a little hard to balance. I made an attempt at a homebrew class a few times for it, and looking back, it was a difficult structure to
Mm.
adhere to when you're trying to homebrew. But a lot of stuff with 5th edition is very cookie cutter in how it works, so you get a pretty good feel for how things should be for an appropriate level. You just kind of cross reference, like, okay, yeah, marshals usually get their shit at 3rd level. They get these abilities every so at this level, that level, and that level. So it's pretty easy, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's what I would think. But back to the issue at hand with Wizards making money. Uh, I would even put it to the audience. What do you guys think that they should do to make money? Like, Sam, what do you think?
I mean, do they not already make money like enough through the sales from the books and things like that?
I mean, I don't know for sure, but I wouldn't imagine it would have reached the mainstream media if they
Hmm.
about them hiring people to fix their money issues and the company getting ready to sell Wizards as an asset. But there are multiple factors in, like their magic cards, for example.
Hmm.
I'm not even going to go into all that because I don't have the full story on the magic card end. But I think that it comes down to there's always been that gap in who's paying for stuff.
Hmm.
And I don't necessarily know how to fix it outside of offering a bunch of little things that players are going to want.
Right.
Although there is one thing that I think they could do that would make it work. The reason why they're hiring all these video game people and the one D&D thing, they were talking about kind of like bringing all of D&D together under one umbrella and making
Hmm.
their own virtual tabletop.
Right.
So you make everything cheap to get and make it so that players kind of need like a little bit of this and that to get all their shit on there, and make a bunch of desirable cosmetics like nice virtual dice. D&D Beyond already does that, you know?
Man, I was thinking recently about like VR and D&D. I'm like, that could go so hard.
It absolutely can, and I think that's their best bet. The However, the everybody jump ship and go play Pathfinder that is going all through the subreddits, like, dude, if you want your thing in your community to get better, jumping ship's not the answer. I
Mm.
like Pathfinder. I really do. I enjoy it. It has its perks, and 5e has its perks as well. You know, it's all about what's good for your party and what's good for your table. Every system has its pros and cons, and that's okay. I have nothing against Pathfinder. In fact, I really liked the first edition Pathfinder because it was like, oh, 3.5 plus. It fixed
Mhm.
a few things that 3.5 wasn't doing right and added a bunch of other cool stuff. And in some cases, some of it was just flat out interchangeable.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to interact with Pathfinder too much.
I
Um,
highly recommend it. Like, take a look after the show when you get a chance.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
I think that as overall as a community, the point of one D&D with its this 2 year period before it officially releases, Wizards is listening to everything the community has to say.
Hmm.
And if you don't
And you know,
say your
sorry, go ahead.
yeah, if you don't say your piece, then you're not going to be heard. You can't just
Right.
jump ship. We as a community, we're making this with them, and we need to do so. We need to shut out all the people that aren't actually going to be playing it, because
Mhm.
if people who play D&D, we're kind of stuck with it.
Right, we have the power to, to improve the game. And honestly, like if we could spend more to make the game better, I would, why not?
Hmm.
People always are worried that, things are going to cost more. But if it's better and it improves, who cares? You know?
Hmm. I also think that most of D&D is just generally free anyways.
Yeah,
So,
like what do you really have to pay for?
I mean, no matter what Wizards does to make money, it's a game that's genuinely like, if you have a book and you have a couple friends and a printer, you're good to go. They're not none of that's going away.
Yeah.
So, as long as you have a book and a couple friends to play and sit around a table with your rolly math rocks, they can't touch that, and they're not going to. There's literally one way to make this work, and that's for them to make what they're doing so attractive, so nice, clean and crisp and immersive that everyone wants to get in on it. That's really it.
Yeah, I agree.
You got any items for your for the showcase this week?
I do, I do. For our homebrew showcase for this week, to keep with the theme, I brought one of my favorites, if I can find my phone. Um,
I would imagine you can find it.
I
It,
did, I did.
okay, good,
Let me
good.
just pull up this picture. So, this is called the gelatinous ice cube.
Ooh, I love it already.
Ooh. It is a popular ice cream. It is shaped after one of the most iconic monster adventurers have to face. It comes in various flavors, and you never know what goodies are hidden inside. When eaten, you gain two of the following effects for 1 hour.
Ooh.
So you roll on a table for a d6. You roll it twice, and your chances are one, a tiny sword;
Right.
two, a creature bone; three, a gummy crown; four, a candy shield; five, good berries; and six, a tiny skull.
All of that just sounds amazing. Hold on. I'm gonna pause the.
Yeah. So the tiny sword does +2 to damage rolls. The creature bone summons a two skeletons. Both are a
Nice.
CR of 1/4. Um, the gummy crown, you receive a free ice cream voucher from your local candy or local ice cream shop.
I like that.
Yeah, I know, right? That's pretty cool. um, the candy shield gives you a +1 to your AC. Um,
Nice.
and remember, all of these effects last for an hour. The good berries effects gives you 10 temporary H points, 10 temporary HP,
H points. I love
and
it.
the tiny skull makes you take 1d6 damage.
You know what? I can see a lot of blade dancers. Not was it blade dancers?
Blade dancers?
Blade singers. Blade singers, the
Blade
subclass.
singers.
Yeah, I can see a lot of them taking this item here because that extra AC chance or the extra HP or damage,
Hmm.
it's worth the risk.
Yeah, even for like like your everyday mage, these effects are pretty good.
I would say so. I personally like the thought of like, oh hey, you got this candy and you got a chance of getting some good, a little bit of bad. Who knows? It just sounds nice.
Right, right, I agree.
It inspires that gambler in all of us, which we're playing.
There's a gambler in all of us.
We're playing a game with dice. There's a gambler in all of us. That's just how it rolls. But it's yeah, I know, terrible jokes. I'm a father. I get a pass.
Terrible jokes aside.
I also brought in an item, and
Yes, yes.
you're a fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, the animated, not the M Night Shyamalan one.
No, we don't talk about that. Never happened.
Yeah, we don't talk about Bruno up in here.
We don't talk about it.
No, no, no.
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
Ah, how could you not? So these gauntlets are called the Earth Movers, and the guy who made them doesn't exactly have the name, but we do have his Patreon, Abyssal Brews. Now, the art for these looks amazing, and we're going to have that up on the site. It's all rock and boulder all around these gloves, a little bit of leather underneath. It looks great, like something straight out of Avatar, like Toph just like boom, rock all over the place. And it has these three abilities that really hit that earthbender vibe. First one is Pillar. You choose a 5 foot by 5 foot area you can see within 30 feet. That area is immediately raised 10 feet upward on an earthen pillar. Creatures standing in that area must take a DC 14 dex save or fall prone. The pillar lasts for a minute or until you dismiss it on your turn.
Oh shit. There
Yeah,
you go.
earth pillars. That's great for cover. That's great for launching things. That's There's so many combo opportunities. Next, the wall ability. You mold a wall of earth and rock in an area you can see within 30 feet. The wall is up to 10 feet wide and 5 feet tall. So, excellent cover for when you're in a battle of attrition and range and you need that little extra. So, if your allies are having some issues, you got them covered. Or maybe you need a little cover yourself. It says it's always a 1 foot thick. Medium and small creatures can take full cover behind it. Large creatures half cover. The wall lasts for a minute or until you dismiss it. And then finally, we're hitting them with a classic, Boulder.
Oh,
But it's not
older.
Boulder. But it's
And
not
remember,
just a
you know,
boulder.
it's not just a boulder; it's a rock.
Exactly. And this rock, you form a boulder of earth and stone and fling it towards a creature you can see within 30 feet. That creature must make a DC 14 dexterity saving throw or take a D10 bludgeoning damage and be pushed 5 feet away from you. So that's got a little bit of control there. You can push people back, block them off, get in the way and launch things, make people prone. This gives you the full Earthbender kit if you add Mold Earth. So if you can get the Mold Earth cantrip and the Earth Movers, fantastic combo. These are very rare and do require attunement, so that should be something to be kept in mind.
Hmm.
If
Does it
you're,
have any type of specific attunement process?
let's see here. I'm just gonna skim this real quick. I really should have skimmed that part before, but the lazy dungeon master, it's got me. Okay, so it is charge based and recharges on a long rest. And the charges are equal to the proficiency bonus of the creature that is attuned to them. You
It
know,
should.
I should have read that first. Okay, so those recharge on a long rest. You can each charge spent allows you to manipulate Earth from around. Yep. Yeah. Personally, I think there's a lot that can be done with that, and it only gets better as you level up. I would say that's a solid. What would you rate this one?
Mm. Honestly, that is something that I could see. Like, imagine if, Titan, one of my old characters, had something like that. That'd be monstrous.
It
Like,
would be. Titan was a monk warforged, so
yes,
adding
yes.
the ability to just rock throw, the boulder
He was
understands.
my pride and joy.
He was. I will never forget the time that we played Good Cop, Bad Terminator with an entire bar.
Every time we tried to interrogate a goblin and I squished his head by accident.
Oops. Doesn't know
Oh,
his own
whoops.
strength. That's just how
But yeah,
that's just how
it
it
was
goes.
definitely an item that I would love to see in my games. I would love to make use of, you know?
Oh, absolutely. I think as a DM, if I knew there was a player in my party, which almost always is, that's a bit of a fan of Avatar, might throw that in there. It's a
Yeah,
very
yeah.
rare item, so sparing where you decide to drop it, but I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, with enough, reason, it could fit in nice. So, maybe you have to get the heart of a stone goblin or something,
Ooh.
something crazy. You could
I
make it a whole thing.
I would say if I was to give this a rating, like out of 10, I'd give it a 9.
A nine, I would probably give it about an eight or a nine.
Yeah, because it's balanced in the sense that it requires charges equal to your proficiency bonus.
Hmm.
So even if you get this at a low level, it scales. The abilities are fantastic, but they're not overpowered.
Right. The utility potential is really on you. And I feel
Yeah,
like that's what magic items are supposed to be. They're not supposed to be, I have these items and I can do these amazing things. It's I can use this weapon with my abilities to do amazing.
yeah. It very much follows the principle of magic, as my father tells me, that
Magic
it
is a tool,
yeah, it's a tool.
right?
It's meant to buttress what you're doing in combat already, not
Right.
to be the main focus,
Exactly. Exactly. Magic is not a handicap, y'all.
right?
Or
It's
not a handicap. Sorry, it's not a unfair advantage. Or I mean, I guess it is. What am
hmm.
I trying to say?
What was that? Was it Star Wars? I think it is. Like, oh, if you are nothing without this, then you shouldn't have it at all.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. If you can prove that you can deal with stuff on your own and be resourceful, Sure, magic items all the way. You might not need them, but damn if they're not fun. But if someone needs magic items to be viable, they shouldn't have them.
Mhm. Absolutely.
The occasional power gamer at the table. Oh, I need this item to make my build work. That's not how D&D works.
Like, good luck getting that item then.
When did we become about builds? Honestly.
Yeah,
Although,
at the end of the day,
yeah,
you're playing this character. It's what you want to be.
yeah. Although I will give credit to Tulok with his channel. Making builds is like, okay,
You lock the barbarian.
yeah, Tulok the Barbarian. With,
Fucking love his videos, man.
oh, they're fantastic. I would love to get him on the show. He's got a personality that's larger than life.
Man, I would. Yeah, he seems awesome.
Yeah. Which is when he makes a build, it's like I want people to be able to make this character in D&D and I'll show you how to do it.
Right.
But it's not saying that you have to do it. People when it comes to D&D, there's a play style for everyone and sometimes their fantasy is playing out a specific character cuz they want
Hmm.
to be that.
Exactly. Like
I
at the
yeah.
end of the day, it's a role-playing game. Play whatever character you want to be. If you have an alter ego or an OC, or you have a favorite, villain from a TV show, play these characters and have fun.
Yeah, I personally believe that when it comes to if you're going to do it, I don't recommend it. Rip off a character from a show outright.
Yes.
I think everybody gets one pass. You get one.
Everybody gets one.
Yeah, everybody gets one. That's
I
my
don't think I've
opinion
had
on it.
one yet.
Cause like, sure, once you get into D&D, the first couple characters are probably self inserts. Then after that, you start moving into the territory of you're doing something a little different. Maybe you're building something because it seems exciting, or maybe you're building something based off a character. And once you're in that phase, you get one. After
I
that, you
think the
need
closest I've
to.
gotten to something like that is when I
Yeah,
made my plague doctor after the SCP.
I loved that one. That was great.
Yeah, so excited about that one.
Yeah, that was your one, and I would gladly see you play that one again because you pulled it off. It was fantastic. And the SCP Plague Doctor, it had some stuff to give you a basis, but really you were building a personality on to the rest of it.
Exactly.
Like it wasn't the whole thing. You're not, oh hey, I'm the Plague Doctor now. You were building onto it. It was inspired, really.
Yes, I was inspired.
Not at all like me. That time I tried to play Brooke from One Piece. And then next thing you know, as far as Chris is concerned, the forgotten afros don't exist in the Forgotten Realms.
Um,
Gatekeeping the afros from me.
Man, I feel like dwarves would have afros.
I love it. Funky dwarfs.
Yeah, I feel like dwarves would definitely have afros. They have the frizzy hair.
The thought of Motown dwarves. You know what I'm
You
talking about?
think
Like the
dwarves like jazz?
oh, dwarves are a jazzy people. I can picture a dwarf with a saxophone.
Oh, absolutely.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
The dwarves are a jazzy people.
I say either like a saxophone or like a piano. See a dwarf busting down on a piano.
Mm, but not like a JoJo piano. Like JoJo piano is
What's a JoJo piano?
you've never seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Like
No.
part 4 takes place in Italy, where the main character wants to join the mafia so he can stop them from selling drugs to kids. Everybody else you can sell drugs to, but not kids. You know, mafia with a
Reasonable.
yeah, mafia dude with a heart of gold. That's just how this guy rolls. And every time he's fighting a bad guy, when the tables turn, you hear that piano riff or whatever they call it with a do 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 do. Yeah, as soon as you hear that, game over. The tides have turned. Someone done fucked up.
Oof, got him.
I love it. Circling back though to the black pudding in the gelatinous cube.
Hmm.
If we're gonna go with scores, let's give those like a IRL fight score. Could you fight them in real life? And if so, how?
Let's see.
Like,
I so let's paint a scenario here.
yeah,
Say you're in like your local library. You're hanging out. Maybe you walk into one of the back rooms looking for something specific. Maybe you're doing some research.
yeah.
Find a back room you haven't gone into before. You step
Hmm.
inside. It's a little muggy. The air feels kind of thick. You press through.
I'm immersed here.
Suddenly you're trapped and you're burning. Yeah, I feel like that would probably catch me off guard. That's not really something you can anticipate. You can really fight back.
I feel like the gelatinous cube. If I had to give it a rating, I would say I'd 8 out of 10. Don't fight
Really,
it.
I gotta give it like a 9. The second I'm noticing anything, I'm getting the fuck out of it.
Yeah, it's very contingent on whether or not you notice it at all.
Yeah, and then it's like, what do you do once you do notice it?
Um,
You know,
yeah, that is the main thing. I'm sure, like in the moment, I could get
poop it out.
resourceful, and well, I think yeah, I could get resourceful and just like try stuff.
Grab a bucket and start scooping.
I mean, if we're talking like a modern library, I might grab a fire extinguisher and try to use the endothermic reaction of the
Yeah, let's
fire
see what that would
extinguisher.
do. Just start poking it, see what happens.
Or maybe like I guess that situation's all contingent on whether or not I have
Yeah,
the access to any kind of technology or something that I can work with.
yeah,
Guns aren't working on these things. That
yeah.
we'll
What
just
are you gonna
throw that.
shoot it? Like, you've seen people shoot like ballistics.
Yes,
It's
it'd be
basically
that.
that. It's not doing anything.
Yeah, but if I could get like a car battery, like I jump into the back of my car, grab my jumper
Yeah,
cables,
yeah.
rip the car battery out of the front. All right, motherfucker, here we
My
go.
first thought would be like fire. I'm grabbing like a can of Axe and a lighter. I'm going to town.
Okay, so I could see maybe if I had a bottle of some really hard stuff and a torch. If I'm going like classic D and
Start
D,
making Molotovs in the library.
I was thinking the classic. The fire breathing trick that the circus dudes do.
Yes.
They do that by doing a spit take.
Yeah, yeah,
You know how
yeah.
a spit take works, right? Like you gotta get that
Uh-huh.
spray just right, and then you light it. It's tricky. Like if you fuck up, you're kind of fucked.
Your face is gonna like burst into flames.
Yeah. So you gotta do it with gusto. You gotta do it with confidence.
Gusto.
Gusto, absolutely. You gotta do everything with manly gusto, or at least
Doesn't have,
you should.
it doesn't have to be manly gusto. For
No.
those are they them watchers out there, or listeners.
What does feminine gusto look like?
I don't know.
I might have to
Do
take.
do do, do women have like the equivalent of like big dick energy? What would that what would that be? Big pussy energy?
That big
I'm sorry.
bitch.
I'm sorry.
No, no. It
Big
it bad bitch energy.
bad bitch. There we go. There
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah. Okay.
That sounds right.
So we've established that men have manly gusto. That's when you go in, no fucks given. You're just hardcore dud. Nothing personal, kid. Yeah, that kind of energy. Well, meanwhile, a woman goes into the situation and she's all like, "Yeah, that's right. I fucked you up, and I'm a bad bitch."
Yeah, I'm running shit.
Like lays down the law, like a real step on me, mommy situation.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. It's like you are under her foot, and you better be willing to do what she says, cause ain't no way out of this that's gonna look good for you.
Mm,
I like that, the bad bitch energy and the
oh
manly
yeah.
gusto. I don't know about
Mm,
anything else.
mm.
I'm not with the times.
Oh man, me either. I'm getting older. I
Not
keep
even
saying, man, the
30. I'm too
actor
old
said
for
it
this.
best. We're getting older.
Mm, that sounds very accurate. The black pudding.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh man, I gotta give those. Those gotta be worse. Those are like the blob.
I feel like if I can be aware that it's there,
Yeah, I don't imagine they're very fast. Once you know that they're in the area, you can kind of watch out for them. So
mm,
maybe I'll give them a 7.
I was thinking the same thing. I think a 7. Because in
Yeah,
8's like, this thing's got the drop on you. You have to be very
yeah, yeah.
sly to
You're
figure it
cornered in
out.
a room. Good luck, but you have the chance to kind of look out for it at least.
Yeah, I'd say my odds of getting out of a gelatinous cube situation are low. But a black pudding, I think you can see it, and that makes a huge difference. Just a huge difference. You know,
Hmm.
like I could hit it with something.
So
It
we'll put
obviously would
both of
dissolve
these
it.
creatures on the scale as a fuck that.
Oh, absolutely. A fuck that. Like a 5 on the scale is I got 50-50 chance. I might take those odds.
Yeah. One
10.
day, I swear we'll have a feature monster that maybe we'll fight. Maybe we'll go hand to hand. With something not too amorphous.
Anything that is of the small category.
Small, the small wildlife. The gentle fae.
I don't know. I could take a goblin. That's the size of a kid.
Oh, I'd beat the shit out of a goblin.
I'm a dad, so I could take all that pent up, fuck you, kid. You're ruining my shit,
Right,
and
right.
then project that onto the goblin. Goblins don't got a chance.
Oh, God. Yeah, I'd beat the shit out of.
Big man beating the shit out of a goblin. Fuck yeah,
What do
I'm
you
beating
do?
the
A
shit.
goblin just walks into your house.
You done walked into the wrong neighborhood, son.
Like, are you ready to die, kid?
Absolutely. I'd say a
Mm,
1 on this scale is
What?
absolute stomp. Don't even try it, bud.
Mm,
The thing about goblins is
mm.
they're usually never alone.
Oh no,
Just one
that's the thing. You
goblin.
could you could beat up one goblin, but that's when there's got to be at least like 6 more of these little fuckers. Like,
Damn. You know what? Maybe there is something to these stereotypes. Like sometimes there's the you mess with one, you mess with all of them. You know what I mean?
all right, but then it's like what are you supposed to do? Just let them come into your house? But now you're the bad guy because now you got to kill all these goblins.
You know, I live in a state where I'm allowed to kill all the things that run into my house. I know you don't live in that kind of a area. Uh, Jersey, I believe, is you have to run away if someone breaks into your house.
I don't know. Well, I believe in your house, to your discretion, but on
No,
like the street or something, yeah, I don't think so.
no. One in your, I'm pretty sure New Jersey's one of those. Uh, if you have a way to get out of your house, like a window, you have to do it.
Man, I'd rather go to jail than be like, nah, I ran away from some guy that broke into my house.
Yeah. Yeah, this punk goblin just walked into my house. I wasn't about to go to jail for killing a
Yeah,
motherfucker.
I wasn't gonna fight this 3-foot goblin. That's how
Well,
I feel when people are like, oh man, I'm so scared of Chucky. I'm like, if you don't kick that little shit across the street, like,
like, it's got to have restricted movement. It's little
get the
doll
thing away from
arms.
me.
Like,
Yeah,
oh,
little
it's
doll
got a
arms.
knife and it's throwing itself at you with like psionic force. Like,
It's like gotta weigh like 10 pounds.
did they ever throw that thing into an incinerator?
I think so, something like that,
That's the first place a lot of people would think to do.
like a wood chipper or something.
I,
Put it in the dryer.
yeah, just lock it in.
In the
Yeah, lock it in the dryer. Rent a buddy's boat. Be like, yo, dude.
What would be worse, a dryer or like a wash? Probably a washer.
No,
Just
no.
drown them over and over.
No, it's a doll. You put them in the dryer, you turn on the high cycle, and it's getting
Oh yeah,
tumbled and
getting real
heated.
toasty.
Yeah, real toasty. And then, like, you put the dryer up on a dolly, and you wheel that out, and you get your friend with a boat, and then you
There you
dump it
go.
12 miles out where it's international waters, so no one can say shit.
How to tame a demon. Put it in the dryer.
Yeah. And then, salt's supposed to help with dealing with demons, so dumping a demon into the ocean. Sure.
Oh my god.
It's a lot of salt, probably.
Got him. Get fucked.
I don't know. I ain't never seen those horror movies. Probably kill the fuck out of me.
Oh man, our free talk sessions always go wild.
That's the best part.
Love it, love it.
I mean, we're all out of shit to talk about at this point in the show, unless you have something else.
No, I think that's about everything we planned for.
You know what? I'll leave it. I'll leave the audience with one more thing, and it's a maneuver that I think would be fun in any session. Flying characters with vine whip.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man.
No, vine whip. If you hit someone with that, it and they fail to save, they're
You
pulled
just lift them into the air.
10 feet.
Shit.
10
You just
feet.
dangle them up in the air.
Well, it lasts only for one round, so that once you hit that 10 feet point, once you're done,
You just drop them.
they're gonna drop, and that's an extra d6 of damage. That's free
Drop
damage.
them off a cliff.
I've tried to do that maneuver with the jump spell, where I jump over somebody and try to pull them up towards me, and then like they get the d6 of falling down, and then try to land on them for a little bit more.
It's full Spider-Man swing somebody over.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great.
But all right, I think we're good to wrap this up for today. Hope you all enjoyed.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hopefully see y'all next week. We'll see what
Hope
the hol.
everyone enjoys their holidays. Yeah,
It is the
absolutely.
holidays. Maybe we should do a Christmas special.
Mhm. Yeah, because I was planning to put the D&D on hiatus until after Christmas and New Year's. Then of course we have my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday!
Yeah,
Wow,
so,
bring in a
yeah. I guess
Krampus.
we'll all be returning around the 7th and the 8th, I believe.
Well, that's good for the campaign. We'll see how things go for everything else in the meantime.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you definitely having your family enjoy your holidays.
Oh, thanks, man. And we'll call it good. That's a wrap.